Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Pacific Nations Cup. The status of this game is simple. If Samoa get themselves a bonus point win, they will go through to the next stage of the Pacific Nations Cup. If they miss out and Fiji get any form of point or get themselves the win, they will finish number one in the group, and the Samoans will miss out. Their current points differential in this scenario is irrelevant, because even if they were to get themselves the victory here, I believe if it wasn't with a bonus point, it would mean that they go to matches won and lost, and that head-to-head between Tonga and Samoa didn't quite go their way. Looking through at the starting lineup for this contest, it is going to be Sauli in the front row alongside Ane Asu and Mike Alaratoa in that number 3 jersey. In the locking duo, it is Michael Curry alongside Ben Nini, then Taleni Su at 6, Alamunda Matunga as the number 7, and Patelo Mapu slots in as the number 8. In the number 9 jersey, it will be Joel Lamb, the youngster who got himself the chance in last week's game. Rodney Yona alongside Henry Taiafu, Nanai, Tuitama, Alofipo, and Lolangi Vizinia as that number 15. Looking through at this Fijian starting lineup, it is here Reti Atit alongside Tavira Ikaraveri and Samu Tawake in that number 3 jersey. Nasila Sila and Maya Navanua make up the locking duo with Atonio Wanga at 6, Kitioni Salawa at number 7, and then number 8, Ilya Whanakaivata, Kuravoli and Muntz. That will be a dangerous duo in this contest. Tamani Valu in the midfield after a great game last week. And then also Samu Vodre slotting in as the 13. Loganamasi out on one wing, Ravovo out on the other. And then it is the youngster Isaiah Armstrong Ravula who gets the chance at number 15. A pretty decent crowd by the looks of it. This game taking place at Rotorua International Stadium. So it is actually in New Zealand. Same can be said about that other Pacific Nations Cup game taking place as well. But this is the business end of the competition. Like I mentioned, the way that the table sits, if Tonga sit where they are at the end of this round, they will be through to more than likely face Japan. But that can all change because, of course, the Japanese playing up against the USA tomorrow, and that will help determine exactly how this table will find itself sitting. Also, I should mention, whoever is in third in each group, they will play off with each other. The winner, I believe, qualifies for the World Cup, and the loser goes through the repechage. So it's still quite a bit of work to do for one of those two sides, which is exactly why you don't want to be last in the group of 3. We have got Tosaviti Tosso, says DK. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. We have G'day G'day, says Katsanel, and also the Fijian flags in there from DK. We have got their select Samoan-born players, not Kiwis, says DK in there. I mean, to be fair, a lot of them do play their rugby in New Zealand. That's a massive hill in the background at Rotorua Stadium. I don't realise how big of it. I guess you probably have... What would you even put on that hill? I guess people watching cricket. Do they play cricket at this ground? We have got their two nations on track, Manu Samoans and the Flying Fijians, says Ruslin. Yeah, I think that both of these sides have got a ton of potential. Samoa were a little bit slower starting their competition than they would have liked. Now, they needed that first win, because with the fact that they weren't able to get themselves a win from the get-go, it meant straight away in a short competition, you're behind. And that is the last thing that you want. You want to get yourself just that little bit of an extra boost in the overall standings. Yeah, an extremely intriguing one just around the corner. Of course, do let me know who you guys think will win this contest. Fast Party of Samoa, says DK, and also we've got their Tosaviti Tosso, says Avril, and also we've got their two nations on track. And of course, Tonga, they have probably been the side in this competition that not many people expected to be able to perform the way that they did. Definitely in that first game up against the Samoans, breaking a bit of a losing streak up against Manu Samoa. We have got I'm already up in anticipation for the Springboks game, and 9 a.m. is quite far away, says Bocan. But the good news is, as many nerves as there will be heading into that matchup between New Zealand and South Africa, we've got plenty of rugby beforehand to keep the brain occupied. We've got this game. Then after that, we have got Argentina versus Australia. That does actually overlap with this contest a little bit. So once we get close, we are going to be transferring over to that next one while giving score updates for the end of Samoa versus Fiji. You covering all tests? I am hoping to, yes. There are a couple tricky overlaps, such as this game and Australia versus Argentina. I don't know who did the scheduling, but they didn't do it very well. Tosaviti Tosso, says DK. It is going to be the Samoan national anthem being sung, and then we will be underway for this contest. Of course, do let me know who you think will win this game between Samoa or the Flying Fijians. And man, I still feel hungover from yesterday's Socceroos game. I should have chosen to buy football tickets. So there's cats are now in there. Yeah, it's been a hectic weekend for sport, and it's going to get more hectic if you do love a bit of rugby. Of course, the later games of the Rugby Championship. Tomorrow, we are going to get to see the Pacific Nations Cup between USA and Japan. Bunnings NPC is still rolling. Curry Cup, 3 games back-to-back tonight with the Women's World Cup matches. All top-of-the-table clashes taking place too. So, you know, there's a list of at least probably 20 games that most people will be watching throughout this weekend. There's not many hours in a weekend, unfortunately. We have got Argentina. They have been quite competitive. We might be in for a good team. I hope so. I actually said about it on the preview last night with Vic and Vern that everyone's looking at the Eden Park Test match as the massive one to watch out for. But I actually think a sleeper game could actually be that matchup taking place between Argentina and Australia. It could be match of the weekend. But everyone is laser focused on the Eden Park Test match that it might go a little bit under the radar. We have got there, it's a packed weekend, says Bokang and Tosafiti from Daniel there and Come On Fiji. Says DK, just quickly looking through at the benches for these two sides as they do cross over on at the halfway line. Looks like a pretty overcast type of game in Rotorua for this matchup, but off the bench, Latero Tole in that number 16 jersey. And then also Olojuan Noah, keep an eye out for him at number 19, Alatimu, and Tommaso Alosio there as the number 23. For the Fijians, they have got the replacement of Zarel Tongi Otamo, although Tavera Ekenaviri has been an absolute standout. The way that he's been able to start matches and sometimes go close to finishing them. He does play quite a few minutes for this Fijian side. You got Kimu Valetini as a back replacement, Mutakai Murray, Masaki Vothivote, Masaki Donge there as the number 18 too. So plenty of talent from the Fijian Roa side of things to make their way out onto the field for the second half. We are getting close to the start of this match. I went to school with Tomasi Alosio. His younger brother Chris is a famous actor who works with Taika. Says it's Razor there. Any real technology available ground side for replays and review? Plenty by the looks of it at Rotorua Stadium. I've seen a few different cameras set up around the ground. So you can't use that as an excuse, DK. I can see where you were going with that one. The Springboks need to show up, says Bokang. And also Tossa Boy says Avril. And the ref is the Scorpion King, says Daniel there. And hey, Hamish, how are you, mate? I'm doing well. Probably didn't get as much sleep as I should have, but I don't think anyone really did overnight. 4 a.m. here, says Big Rig Joe. And hey, Hamish, how's things? Yeah, big day of rugby, I should say. And it's gonna be a hectic one. But I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. In 6 hours' time, we would have finished the 3 internationals, and then we've got more rugby taking place overnight with the Curry Cup as well as the Women's World Cup. But finishing the Thipi before the matchup, the Fijians. We are now just about under. Oh, a little bit of a steer down there between the two sides. After Fiji complete their pre-match ritual there. We have got there, I'm the same, rolling on 5 hours. We've got some brews and some rugby to watch, so duty calls. Says it's Razor. Yeah, I don't think anyone who is sleep deprived will be falling asleep during that New Zealand-South Africa game. I feel like no matter what, the brain will be powered to just keep on rolling through for that match. I can see you're excited for the Box versus New Zealand. I'm excited for this game. This one should be a great one because Manu Samoans, they have to play like their World Cup depends on it. Because if they're able to win this game with a bonus point, and the thing is in this competition, bonus point is for 4 or more tries. So they don't have to worry about being 3 ahead of, actually, is it 3 ahead of your opposition in this one? I might have said the wrong one there, but either way, Samoa need a 5-point victory in terms of 5 points on the overall standings. So it is not going to be easy to do. We'll look here at the table, Pacific Nations Cup. You get yourself 4 points. Oh no, it is 4 tries or more, so Samoa need to win this game with 4 tries if they want to make their way through to the next stage, and that would knock out Tonga from this competition. So many internationals happening from almost all major sports, says Katsanel. And also, all the games today are good games, but I think this one might be the most lopsided. There is a chance. If Samoa don't show up and Fiji find their rhythm from the get-go, this could be a pretty one-sided affair. But at the same time, you know, the Samoan team, maybe this is what they needed. A little bit of a back against the wall situation so they can go out there and really try and show what they can do. Fiji, they could come into this game a little complacent. They've already booked their spot through to the Pacific Nations Cup semi-finals. We have there today is Stack due for Dave for Rugby says Big Rig. And also, what time is South Africa and New Zealand playing? So they are playing in 4 hours' time. So wherever you are in the world, for New Zealand, it is 7:05 p.m. For South Africa, it is 9:05 a.m. And then, yeah, wherever else you are, just make sure you add a few extra hours, 4 to be exact. And that's when your kickoff is. Poll is even, as Whananoku will be playing against South Africa test match for the All Blacks. He is not going to be in the match. No Caleb Clark either. That's going to be a big hit. We're actually going to be covering the Bunnings NPC on Sunday, watching Caleb Clark in action up against the Tasman Makos. So that we probably would have seen featuring Timothy Tavatavanawai too, had it not been for that injury that he picked up. We have there the Flying Fijians, says DK. And US/Samoa and the women's is kind of mid. Every other game today looks good, says Big Rig. The referee in charge of this one, it is going to be Namikawa, the Japanese international referee. Tosaviti says nasal. We're just about ready to go for the first match of many today on the channel. I believe the first of maybe 5 or 6 that we are going to be covering. Is Eden Park still being knocked down? I actually don't know, to be honest. I don't know what their plans are with it, but if they lose the record, they might decide to just knock it down, start a new one. We have got there, oh, yeah, you are right. One moment. We'll quickly switch that to the right scoreboard. Well spotted and kicked off now. There we go. We got the right one this time. Samoa with a really attacking run forward from Patelo Mapu to start this match off, probably make it about 20 or so meters. We have got their fast party. Selected the Samoan team and not their coach, says DK. I have no idea what you're talking about, DK. All I've noticed from your comments is you always try and degrade the other team to try and make your own team look better. But they have to do their talking on the field here. Samoa starting off this match with a bit of a hiss and a roar here. 35 seconds through in this contest. Michael Alaratoa already gaining some meters too. Fiji trying to get in the breakdown. That's got to be close to the steal. Referee's just looking at the breakdown. He doesn't care. But it looked like Samu Tawake had that every day of the week and twice on a Saturday. Now sitting around the halfway line. Got your suit and tie iron is Hamish for tonight. It's going to be stressful because on this live stream, we'll go up to a certain point where we are able to, which of course will be just before that Argentina-Australia one does end up starting. A little kick and behind from Samoa, going to be about a metre out from the try line, so kicked into touch by Fiji. But yeah, we're going to be transferring over to that next live stream, and in those couple minutes that I've got for transferring, that is also going to be the time when I am getting the suit and whatnot on, so it's going to be a hectic little period, but hopefully it'll run smoothly. We are starting 15 minutes before Australia versus Argentina. We have there, I remember DK from the last stream, he is an extremely passionate Fijian fan. Says, vroom, vroom. And, mate, I just realised, are you going to switch over to Australia versus Argentina? Seems like there's an overlap. There is. And whoever planned it really did a bad job. This game could have started 30 minutes earlier, and it wouldn't have changed anything in terms of the overall schedule. But, yeah, it does overlap. Currently, Samoa have had all possession throughout this first 2 minutes of the contest. Going to move away to the left-hand side was Joel Lamb. Now, a little kick attempted in behind from Rodney Ona. Does go into the hands of Caleb Muntz, who does end up slipping over, driven a little bit closer towards the touchline by Alo Fipo, and the penalty goes the way of the Samoans. Side entry from Fiji. Afternoon, Hamish. This is game on Sky Sport. It is Sky Sport 5 today for us here in New Zealand. Isn't there an overlap with the Ramphilly Shield and Australia-Argentina game? Also, there is. Although, to be fair, I don't think many people, no offence to Southland, expected them to get the Ramphilly Shield. So that one can be, understandable. That was already organised. But this game, all it would have taken is for someone to look and go, oh, the Australia-Argentina game's on early. How can we make it so that people watch our game before they watch that game? And all they had to do is 2:30 kickoff. I don't know why it had to be 3 so that it did overlap. But I think next week it might be a little bit different because of where the playoffs are being held, but now rolling more here for Samoa. They need 4 tries and a bonus point win, and they are over the line. First try of the day, 3 minutes in. Samoa strike, and they have decided that they want to rush in the early stages of this game. They've just made pretty much 80 metres, give or take, in terms of just building up the field. But what a start for the underdogs. It's going to be Peter Ane Asu. Does end up scoring. That didn't take long. It didn't. Although, I will mention, Tonga did score first up against Fiji as well, and then went on to lose that game by a substantial margin. So, just because they have scored first doesn't mean they're going to score the most points. But, great start. Rolling maul. Fiji unable to defend it just the 5 metres out. I did not see that coming. I got on them. And also, we have got their mate England aren't that great up against the Wallaroos. And I haven't looked forward to a rugby game like tonight's for a little while. Bit biased because I grew up around Eden Park, says Nars Williams. Yeah, I feel like there's a different feeling for that match. And I was thinking about it before this game. Oh, that kick coming round. Doesn't quite come round enough. So the score will remain after 4 minutes. 5 points to 0 in favour of Manu Samoans. But yeah, that game outside of World Cups, I would argue is the biggest game in the last decade, if not longer. In terms of the prestige and the record, we have never seen a South African side on a 4-match winning streak heading into Eden Park for their 5th game up against the ABs. You know, they're the 2-time world champs. New Zealand, they have 50 unbeaten games at Eden Park to defend. Another penalty going against Fiji here, this time for taking the man out in the air. I also like that Fiji Samoa or Eden Park, according to your background, says Big Rig. To be fair, that was just because pretty much with all the overlays, I'm only allowed maximum 100. And I sadly didn't have enough space to also put Rotorua Stadium as a background option. Sounds quite bad, doesn't it? But yeah, that is why it's Eden Park. And I just thought it'd be easier so that I can transfer over a bit later on. Haven't even got the Australian stadium loaded in, so that might be at Suncorp tonight for that game. Your commentary is so much better than Sky Sports 5. You should work for them. Says Nasal. Do appreciate that a lot. And of course, we are going to be back for the games next week of the Pacific Nations Cup. Even the one that is being played between the 5th and 6th ranked sides that they missed conversion. Yep, just away to the right-hand side. Trying to hook it around. Didn't quite get the angle, but now rolling maul again here for the Samoans. Another penalty advantage against Fiji. The breakaway run from Asu, the try scorer. Across to the right, Rodney on with the short ball. It's going to be dropped by Tunatui Tama. Almost a little bit of push and shove there. Tamani Valu. He is looking confused. There's a player about 15 years younger than him. Decides that he wants to try and start something. You're the best, David, says Amos. And also, England has a record of dropping the ball and randomly losing games. They should win, says Big Rig. And Australia always have the chance of an upset, says Big Rig. Yeah, to be fair to Australia, their game up against the USA, pretty unpredictable one. I don't think many people saw them getting as close to losing that game as they were. Definitely with how well England went. I need 500 screens to watch all these games. Yeah, there's so many overlaps. That's a brilliant kick, though, from Rodney Ona, getting about 7 metres out from the try line here. And a massive opportunity for that rolling maul of Samoa to once again show what they can do. They did it not too long ago. Can they do it again here? Right, will Fiji throw someone in the air and try and contest this, or will they set for that rolling maul? Either way, I do think this is still probably going to make some metres. They go to the front, no contest from the Fijians, and it's well set in terms of that rolling maul defence. But Samoa, they will just keep on going back to this, and it's been dragged down legally by the Fijians. No penalty advantage in play. Henry Taifu at number 12 jersey for Samoa. Loose ball knocked on by the Samoans there. Now, last week, the Tongans had the case of the drop C's in terms of the amount of knock-ons that they had throughout this game. But Samoa, just a couple early errors up against the few penalties in a row that we're seeing against the Fijians. We have got their rugby pass isn't working for me in the UK. This commentary is more than doing the job, though. Says James, and I do appreciate you being here for this match. We are going to be back for Argentina versus Australia as well. I'm not too sure whether or not Rugby Pass will have that one, but then also alongside that, we've got that match between South Africa and New Zealand, what some are classing as the biggest test match of the year, and not many are arguing with that statement. It is a huge game with a lot of implications. I like this referee. I've seen him a few times, and he's class, never too stressed on the small stuff. Yeah, he does seem to let it flow a little bit more than some of the referees. He's just like, if there's a problem in the breakdown, sort it out. That problem-solving type of ref, which is quite good to see. Massive scrum there from Samoa. That is a huge push from the underdogs there. Fiji have the scrum feed, and they put the ball in and straight away got folded backwards. This front row, Aki Seuli, Michael Alaratoa, Peter Anayasu, all asserting that dominance early. Yes, Rev is from Samoa. He's not, though. He's from Japan. Version of Sky Sports is showing Rugby Championship games in Britain. Should be no problem for me, says James there. Yeah, it is always hard to find these Pacific Nations games, it seems. Like, Rugby Pass should be doing them, and I thought that they would be, to be honest, but yeah, it just seems to be a little bit more of a lottery to try and find these games outside of New Zealand and maybe Australia. I'd love to see you do a collab with Inside Rugby with Mark. Are you familiar with them? I have heard of them. I actually, when I was doing my previews, I was thinking about trying to reach out, but I couldn't find like an email address or anything for him. And also at the same time, I wasn't sure what his time zone was. So I was like, I don't want to message him in the middle of the night because he's in Mexico, isn't he? That one has gone over 8-0 for the Samoans here. This is the best possible start they could have had with the exception of missing that earlier kick. But other than that, 8-0. I couldn't have asked for much more. World Rugby is awful for showing and promoting rugby. It's a part-time job. Keep track of how to watch them, says Big Rig. Well, the amount of times that we've had people come onto the streams and say, I only knew this game was happening because you went live, is almost concerning. It should be promoted everywhere of what games are taking place. Nice run forward from Henry Taiafu, gets the offload away to Rodney Yonu, who goes for a kick in behind, but Fiji claiming it round the halfway line. Caleb Muntz with a nice step. Tackled by Anea Su. He's been extremely busy throughout the early stages. Now off to the left-hand side, nicely taken. That was almost a interesting tackle attempt from Joel Lamb, but he was just onside, says the referee. 10 minutes into the contest. Currently 8-0. They don't want to give Samoa that extra 3. Elia Whanakai Vata. It's about 9 p.m. Friday in Mexico. Says Nov Mum, loose ball. Fiji pick it back up, and they will go back for the original penalty now. The crowd's pretty split at the moment in terms of support for these two teams. I think Fiji, their voice in the crowd will now just start to come alive that little bit more. Make time zones aren't a problem for you. You literally don't sleep. You are a plant Earth time. Says it's Razor. And come on, Fiji, says Moa Hunters. And it's on the Rugby Pass schedule, but I'm getting the usual we had trouble processing this page. Try again later message. Have you got a VPN that might maybe help? Even if you were to set yourself to your location on your VPN, that might do something for it. Unless, of course, there's just a lot more people trying to watch this game than normal. But now, been told to use it once here. Fiji for the rolling. Multavera Ikanaveri has got it in hand, and this one's now starting to move. Samoa giving away the penalty advantage. This is almost looking like deja vu of what happened down the other end of the field, but the penalty awarded. So ref just given the penalty here. Where are they playing? They're actually playing at Rotorua International Stadium in Rotorua for this contest, which was a bit of a surprise. I thought they would have been at Apia Park, if I'm honest, but not the case for this game. Instead in New Zealand. And we have got there up to Samoa, says Pele Pele, and also, what are your predictions? I think it will be Samoa 32, Fiji 24. Well, if that was the case, Samoa would go through to the next stage of the Pacific Nations Cup. Ready to throw this one in for Davida Ikanaveri. Nicely taken by Asoa Nasila. Now looking to get this one moving just that little bit further forward. Davida Ikanaveri. Chance to break off the back. Samoa have to be very smart with how they try and stop this. That one's down over the line. Ref's looking for a grounding. Has he got one? Yes, he does. And Fiji score their first try of the match, firing back after conceding early. This is similar, in fact, a little bit too similar to what we saw in their game up against the Tongans, where they did pretty much the same thing. It was the conceding of early tries. Kanaveri, brilliantly done. So far, both hookers having a field day, 1 try apiece in this match. Come on, Fiji. And Fiji to score 40 plus. Oh, okay, so Fiji to get 40 plus. How many are you giving Samoa in this game? Bavia, are you giving them a bonus point at all from this fixture, or are you saying that Fiji are going to just run away with this matchup? But nicely done. Getting the try. Now lining up this kick, it will be Caleb Muntz. Normally pretty solid of a kicking tee. Doesn't have too many difficulties in this department. Strikes it nice. And strikes it away to the left. That wasn't anticipated. In fact, that wasn't probably the hardest kick that he could have gone for. What are your thoughts about mauls, Hamish? I know they're not as overpowered as they were a few years ago, but teams like New Zealand still are seeming reliant on them at the moment. Says it's Razor. Yeah, see, the maul's a bit of an interesting one because I feel like the maul is so different from most of what you see out there on the rugby field. You know, the scrum is really the only other time you see multiple players kind of locked together to push, if that makes sense. So, yeah, like rolling mauls are, like, they make sense, but at the same time, they are almost like the exclusion from the normal game of rugby that we see, where you're predominantly kicking, passing, and running. But they're an effective weapon, that is for sure. And both sides using them well. Throughout the first 14 minutes of this game, kick downfield from Simeone Koravoli on the short side. Lolangi Vizanier close to the sideline. He might have knocked that one backwards. Oh no, in fact, it's called as knock on by the ref. Come on, Fiji, big hits. Says DK, I love me some rolling mauls, power baby. Says Big Rig. Yeah, it's always intriguing to see how sides will defend them. Is Big Bill Mata playing, former Edinburgh 8? Believe it or not, they've actually left him out of this game, and that could actually be because of the fact that they've already qualified for the next stage, but I do think we will see Viliami Mata back in for the game after this one. The thing is, though, in the first game up against the Tongans, as harsh as it may sound, he wasn't actually his absolute best. He did make a few mistakes throughout that game, so maybe they decided, give him an extra week. But then at the same time, when does he go back to Edinburgh? Or no, in fact, did he sign with the Drua? Where's he going to be playing next year, Viliami Mata now? Tackles made so far, 22 made by the Fijians. They have missed one with 96% tackle accuracy, whereas Samoa, they have made 7 tackles, missed 2 with 78% accuracy there. Although I've noticed in the Women's World Cup, I don't seem to have any defence for it. It's tricky because there is such a massive forward momentum of a side who set a rolling maul, but we also have to remember in those games where we've seen a dominant rolling maul, it's normally up against a side that are ranked a lot lower and have no level of training to match what the top sides do in the rolling mauls. The likes of, for instance, England, they can use a rolling maul anytime that they really want, and only a few of the top sides can actually defend it. So it's a bit of a cheat code for those higher ranked sides if they're trying to get something going. But now kick downfield from Koravoli. It's out on the full from the Fijian 9. Means now line out throw for the Samoans, sitting about 30 metres out from Fiji's line. Just not quite getting his angle right on that one. Currently, Fiji are still favourites, I do see, even though they are considered as 3 points down. I don't think that's going to discourage them too much at this point. They've just got their Samoa need to win with a bonus point to qualify for the Rugby World Cup 2027. Now, if they don't win with a bonus point here, they can still qualify, but they will have to go through the repechage rather than through normal qualification. Oh, knock on there from the Samoans. Going to be knocked back by Ponepate Loganamasi, Big Day of Rugby. Don't you love it? The worst part, no sleeping, says Brandon. Yeah, it's going to be a hectic one. I believe the last live stream that I'm doing on the channel is taking place in around 13 hours' time. In fact, it's 15 hours' time. And then we'll be getting about 4 hours sleep before we get up and do it all again for the next day. Come on, my family, Samoa, you got this, says Yoki there. And they've started extremely well. They got that early try of an ARSU, and now it's just about staying in this game, although they've had a couple too many handling errors in just recent succession, which I do think will definitely concern them heading forward that little bit more. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens, whether or not they can get that momentum flowing. Good there, I think 6 of the Red Roses tries against the US were rolling mauls, says Big Rig. Yeah, so it is overpowered for the big sides. You got this BGC's Avril. Free kick goes the way of Samoa. So again, I was mentioning about the handling errors, but to Fiji's kind of downfall here, they've actually had twice where they have had the feed and they've given away either a free kick or a penalty. So Samoa might not be minding all these rolling mauls. Try Samoa, not yet. They're currently 25 metres out from the line. Joel Lamb goes across to the hands of Petelo Mapu. Inside ball from Rodney Ona finds Alamondo Matunga, the big man, in the 7 jersey for today. Lamb goes across to Alala. Now little Salah, the dummy from Nanai, almost goes through. Yes, he does, inside ball. And it's the second try for Samoa. Beautifully scored, and it's the youngster Joel Lamb who manages to get the try. And the whole team has surrounded him as well as the reserves. But a great inside ball from Milani Nanai. And lovely says it's Razor. Left Edinburgh by now. He's never got back to his best. He was massive fan favourite for good reason in 1920. And also got injured shortly after, says James. And who would have thought, says Jonathan, yes, Samoa coming out with a hiss and a roar here. They want to prove, well, they just want to, in general, get their spot to that Rugby World Cup. It's on the line. If they can win this game with a bonus point, they do qualify. And it means that Tonga have to go through the repechage. Defence Fiji, says DK, but 20 minutes in, we can hear the chahoos all around the ground at the moment from the Samoan supporters. This one 24 metres out for Roniona. Yeah, what a start to this contest for the Samoan side. Like I mentioned, they had their backs against the wall heading into this game. They knew that they needed a massive performance, and so far that's what they're doing. It is this time the try scored by Joel Lamb, which does mean if the trend follows, Simeone Kuravuli is probably only about 10 or so minutes away from scoring his try. It went hooker. Now I assume it's going to go halfback. In terms of the try scoring order, I want Samoa in the Rugby World Cup. They never win, but they're fun to watch. Says Big Rig, yeah, I just don't think it would feel the same without Samoa at that World Cup. Definitely with it being in Australia. Now, I do also want to see Tonga in that Rugby World Cup, and I do think it's a shame that only one of those two sides could potentially be there, although I do think through the repechage we should see the Tongans hopefully get that spot. And up to Viti, says Jason, charge down kicker Joel Lamb, going sideways, bouncing awkwardly, and no one really grabbing it with both hands. Alamona Matunga having the knock on, but it is going to be play on. Simeone Kuravuli in possession for the Fijians. Little bit of a counter ruck there, but the ball's staying on their side. Oh, until the ref says we'll go back for the scrum. We've got the Samoan flags there from Yoki in there as well. But just knocking it on. They are actually showing Ben Nini there, so maybe a knock on from him before the knock on from Alamonda Matanga. 21 minutes through. Samoa, no matter what, the thing is, if they just win this game, that's not enough. They have to win it with a bonus point, which is why we are seeing the aggressive style of rugby being played by this Manu Samoan side. No matter what, Fiji are safe. We have got I'm here with you all day, but I'm holding back on the lagers until after the box game. It's 5:30 a.m. in South Africa. If I start now, the weekend will be written off and my missus will leave. There's Robert. So yeah, best to leave the drinking for later on, I'd say. Good morning. Prediction for the ABs versus Bok. Says Jared Duplessis. My original prediction that I did on my preview was 23-22 in favour of South Africa. Oh no, sorry, I said in favour of New Zealand. But it could go the other way. I feel like this game is going to be extremely unpredictable, and both sides have more than enough potential of winning it, and that's what's going to make it so great. Oh, there's a penalty this time going the way of Fiji at scrum time. So the first time that they've won themselves some sort of momentum from the scrum. We've got the Fijian flags there from Ashwand. I'm getting ready to kick for the corner for Caleb Munt. So straight away, that shows the mentality of this Fijian side. Being down by 10 points, some teams would have knocked over the 3 just to get them that little bit more into the match. But Fiji know that this is a game that they cannot afford to be behind by too much. Daniel said the favourite. The favourite was Fiji heading into this game. And they were expected to win by quite a large margin. I don't see New Zealand losing in Eden Park, even do South Africa. Says Big Rig. And Tosa Viti Toso. And yes, Samoa says Japanese English sing and dance. Now ready to throw it in for Tavita Ikanaviri. He already has 1 try in this matchup, sitting 10 metres out. This is going to be tough to stop again. And it looks like maybe Mapu's dragged it down. He hasn't done it legally, though. This could be a yellow card for Samoa. Now, back across, Kuravuli. On to Samu Tawake. Kuravuli again, moving it off to the left-hand side, sitting 5 metres out from the line. It's almost a good steal from Samoa. In fact, it would have been. Right, just the penalty is the call there from the ref. Close game between Manawatu and Waikato in the NPC. I did see that if Canterbury win the Ranfurly Shield and then the next bout after that goes the right way. Waikato are back with another Shield challenge, aren't they, Nov Mum? So you've probably got the fingers crossed that is going to happen. And then I think they have to defend it the week after. Or maybe the week after that. Oh, that ball was almost kicked dead from Caleb Montz, trying to go only about 5 metres out from the line. We have good there. How would you reply if this trick-or-treaters knock on your door and one kid is dressed as you? How would they be dressed in the suit, like for the fancy live streams, or just like with my face on it? That would probably be a bit of a factor, because if they're just in a suit, they could be absolutely everyone. They could be, who wears a suit? Superman, he wears a suit, doesn't he? Or, some sort of an opera singer. They normally have a suit and tie on as well. Going off to the left-hand side, little bit of a counter right from Samoa. I said little bit, that was a bit of an underestimation of what was going to happen there, because they have bulldozed over the breakdown and won themselves a penalty for Samoa. AJ Lee is back, says Kiwi Gamer there. Great work in the breakdown from Peter Aneasu. But now, this will be able to clear the lines of the Samoans just that little bit more. Kicking into touch for Rodney Ona. And yet, Tavita Ikanaveri just about managing to score that try. And then just pure power from Matonga, who was willing to put the body on the line for his team. And help drive them outside of the 22 now with the line out. Already 25 minutes through this game. It is running extremely smoothly. Now, rolling maul setting up here for the Samoans. Trying to drag it down was Timo Maia Navanua, but he's missed it. And now Samoa still walking forward. Samu Toake this time trying to go through the middle. 2 Fijians in the breakdown. The third tries to grab the ball, but it's knocked on, I think, by a Soana Silasila. If Canterbury win the Shield, then they will defend against Tasman. Then Tasman win, then Waikato win. Says Nov Mum. So yeah, it can kind of go full circle within 3 weeks of Bunnings NPC Rugby. You can there the Fijian flags from DK. Well defended by Fiji initially. Michael Alalatoa. A few deep breaths being taken by the Samoan Skippy here. I feel like this game's been extremely physical throughout the early stages of the match. That ball just getting dislodged out the side of the maul. I think it might have actually been Timo Maia who did try and to get the possession there. Last meeting, when the teams last met in 2024, Samoa were defeated 42 points to 16 in Fiji. Now, this game, of course, not a Fijian home game. It is considered as a Samoan home game, even though it is in Rotorua. But, I don't know, the Samoan team, I would be very surprised if they don't score more than 16 points, mainly because they're on 15 already. And physical is Samoa's MO. Yeah, and they've used it to perfection throughout the early stages of this game. Passed out wide. Now chance with a bit of space here for Eliza Pita Alafipo. Oh, a little bit slow making the decision there of where to go. But in the end, they have decided to go off to the left-hand side. Joel Lamb goes to Rodney Ona, popping it in behind again. Samoa, of course, they need a win, but they need 4 tries alongside that. When did Samoa last play in Samoa? I think it would have been up against Spain last year. I think would have been their last game. Or was it Italy? I think they played 2 games in Samoa up against the Italians and the Spanish, but I'm not sure who was the later game of those two. Nice attack and run from Tuitama. Finds himself out on the left wing for this contest. Oh, and penalty for Fiji in the breakdown. Samoa coming out of the gate hard, says I. And maybe that is part of the tactics. Try and start early and fast, so that you can try and wear this Fijian side out. But also, with the amount of front foot ball that they've only had to make, I would say, about maybe 15 tackles throughout the early stages, whereas Fiji would have to be close to probably, I'd say, 40 at the moment, somewhere around there perhaps, but 5 penalties apiece against both of these sides. Zone winning wild, and King Claw Dreamworld coming soon. Says Kiwi Gamer there, but the main thing is the All Blacks win tonight. Says Nov Mum, yeah, there are a lot of nervous people for that contest. The thing is, I'm nervous, but I'm excited as well, just because if the game lives up to expectations, it will be one that has replayability for the next, 5 years. I missed the lineups for this match, says Zai. One moment, we'll help you out. there you go. That is the Samoan lineup for this contest. 15 points to 5 currently the score. And that was due to the try early on from Peter Anayasu in the number 2 jersey. And then also Joel Lamb managing to score himself a try not too long ago to help give Samoa that, I don't want to say safe lead, but it is a safer lead in this case. 10 points in their favour for the Fijians. Couple changes compared to what we saw last week, but overall still a very solid looking side too. Armstrong Ravula playing from 15. We haven't seen a huge amount of that man as of yet. We've seen quite a bit of Caleb Muntz though in that number 10 jersey. We got a bit of a stoppage here. I believe it is just for, I think it's just a drinks break. Oh no, it's a shoelace or something maybe for one of the Fijian players. I think that was Tavita, or no, it would have actually been Ilya Thanakaivata, who was just getting a little bit of medical attention. Does join back up with the squad though. Trying to work out what that was in his hands. That may have been his mouth guard. Possibly. Okay, they're just checking to see what it is, but it is a free kick in favour of, I believe, the Fijians. And we have got their thanks, says, no worries at all. And you think Puma's going to win today? I think they've got a decent chance. And if Australia underestimate this Pumas side, it would be their biggest mistake of this rugby championship, because I also think that this is, the thing is, right, this sounds pretty basic and like I'm literally just saying facts, but Australia can go 2-0. Argentina, if they play well, can also go 2-0, and I think the most likely is 1-1. Now, Australia to lose 1 on Australian soil would hurt them a little bit for their overall chances of this rugby championship. They need both wins, so do the Pumas. New Zealand underestimated the Pumas and paid for it. So here's Big Rig. Yeah, plus the Pumas, I don't even know if it's purely to blame for New Zealand's underestimation. I think that I think Argentina in that second game were just absolutely phenomenal. You know, looking across the board, Argentina had about 40 defenders beaten in that game. And just some great decisions made. Albanose went off early too. A man that some felt needed to play the 80 minutes for Argentina to have any sort of chance. But Santiago Carreras makes his way out there and just continued where he left off. How well Samoa doing? They've been extremely strong throughout this matchup. They've made some brilliant decisions in terms of when to attack and when to just hold off that little bit longer. And another penalty. Scrum time's been their forte in this matchup. We have got their Samoa's home game. New Zealand hosting a few Samoan games, says DK. And Tongan's got the horsepower. Samoa got Kiwi power, says DK. Average good day, says Jeff J. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. 30 minutes into this contest. Fiji still down by the 10 points. The game's coming up. Make way for the Kings, says Jeff J. But the thing is, just like all boxing and MMA cards, you got to have those matches or the fights leading up to the main event. I do feel like today's day of rugby is kind of set up like a fight card. You know, you've got this match taking place between Samoa versus Fiji, which some would consider as like the prelim of the rugby championship. I don't think so, though. I think the way that these two sides play and the way that this game has started, it's certainly been much higher than that. Going off to the left-hand side now, run for Peter Anayasu. And another penalty goes the way of Samoa. I don't think Fiji will be too far away from getting themselves a yellow here. They keep on infringing. Hi, you're going to cover the Wallabies game? We certainly are. I am actually popping over to that game in about 50 minutes' time. Which does mean that the last 10 or so minutes of this contest, we will have to give score updates over on that other live stream. That one. Going into touch. Now about 5 metres out. Another chance of a rolling maul here for the Samoans. It's the first spammer of the day. And it's not even the rugby championship. They were too early. Must be hugely excited for the match. And they could not wait to get that spam in. But now Peter Anayasu. Oh, drop ball from Samoa. Just a little bit too low and not able to bring it in was Michael Curry, who's got a kind of hand round his throat at the moment from someone Silasila. Looks like he's half by trying to choke him out. Now, Kuravoli, little chip attempted in behind from Fiji. I don't know if that was the right decision there, but it has actually ended up bouncing all right for the Fijians. We have got the eyeballs and said, let's go the Manu. Now Caleb Muntz moving up to 25 metres out from their own line. Tavita Ikanaviri. Another low tackle. Been told to use it again by the referee. Simeone Kuravoli rolls it back across. Left-hand side now. Oh, bit of a rough one from Tamani Valu. This is one of the first times we've actually seen him touch the ball. I know that earlier on he was having a bit of a back and forth with one of the Samoan youngsters. Oh, that's round the neck. That is high from Samoa. It will be the penalty going against Michael Curry. Quick tap taken by Fiji, trying to up the tempo here with a barnstorm and run forward from Kitioni Salawa. And Kuravuli off to the right-hand side again. Muntz waiting for that next pass. Manages to find a good driving tackle made, and another advantage against Samoa, this time for not rolling away. Kuravuli, Tamani Valu, skip pass. Oh, bit of a juggle with the ball, but nicely through the hands now. Out to the dangerous Fijian winger, Kalaveti Ravovo. He too hasn't touched the ball throughout this game as of yet. I think that does just show and give huge credit to the way that Samoa have been able to play throughout this game. The fact that we have hardly mentioned someone like a Loganamasi, like a Kalaveti Ravovo, and I don't even think we've seen Samoa Vodre get his hands on the ball, mainly because that was just a skip pass. But the penalty on the halfway line for Fiji, it is due to an offside penalty. Just a really hard run, though, from Kitioni Salawa. Decided to go with the quick tap. Can we have a prediction for the AB's box game? 23-22. That is my prediction. And I don't think it will be a mile off. But then there's also a chance that we could see anywhere between a 30-20 to maybe 8 points to 5. Who knows? It could be absolutely anything at Eden Park. And I feel like that is what's so exciting about that matchup, the unpredictability. Now, in Auckland earlier on in the day, it was actually raining a little bit, so that could also play a factor in how we see that side, or both sides, in fact, go. Tavita Ikanaviri throwing it in, 25 metres out from the line. Fiji now with the set play. Ikanaviri, the captain, moving forward, 15 metres out. Kuravuli off to the right. What a pass that is. Straight into the hands of Ilia Thanakaivata. Bit slow getting back up to his feet there for Aki Seuli. Salawa with another pick and go, but he's dropped that one. Right, off the feet from Samoa. No yellow cards, no warnings as of yet for either of these sides. I didn't know Caleb Muntz was part Maori, says Nars Williams. I did not know that either, but now I do. Oh, scrum feed. Oh no, it's a tap. Never mind. Okay, so I think one of the props actually said it's a scrum. We want a scrum. And then Tavita Ikanaviri came over and said to the ref, we're taking a tap. And the ref went, wait, who's the captain? Even though he talked to Tavita Ikanaviri like 5 minutes ago as captain. But now Ikanaviri, he's over the line. He might have just been held up and turned onto his back there. But they'll go back for another penalty here. This is getting into troubled waters for the Manu Samoans if they cannot get that discipline right. I think that, to be fair to Fiji, they aren't putting any pressure on the referee. 9 penalties up against Samoa, and respectfully, they just haven't walked up to him and said, look, that's quite a few in a row, ref. They're just getting on with the game. Good morning from South Africa, even though it's afternoon where you are, Hamish says Eddie. So I hope you are enjoying your morning so far. This game's been a bit of a hectic way to start the rugby weekend. Come on, Fiji, try, says DK. Yeah, I think that Fiji, they definitely want that try before halftime. It's going to be tough to do, don't get me wrong, but this is the perfect position to be able to do it. But that was a picture-perfect pass from Simeone Kuravuli straight into the hands of Ilia Thanakaivata. Just couldn't quite get the job finished. My prediction, 22-13 in favour of the ABs. Says Jeff there, that one wasn't the straightest line out, but no contest in the air from Samoa, breaking off the back against Salawa, who's really coming to his own throughout the last 5 minutes of this game. What a run that is from Seti Tamana Valu. I butchered both his first and his last name, but it's Seti Tamani Valu who scores the try for the Fijians. The flat attack and run, a gap in the Samoan defence, and Fiji right back in this contest again. A second try of the Pacific Nations Cup. He has been strong throughout this match, when he gets his hands on the ball, it just hasn't happened too often throughout this last little while. And like they said, no one was going to be able to stop him with a run like that from Seta Tamani Valu. Fiji finding their groove, says Zai there. And we look at their DK Tosaviti. And there as well. Now Caleb Muntz ready to line up another kick. This will put them only down by the 3 points heading into the halftime break, unless, of course, they're able to find themselves another try along the lines here. That kick has gone over. Does make the score now 15 points to the 12. Like they just said, he caught that ball beautifully through the gap for Seta Tamani Valu, the return of the Fijians, says Godzone. And it's a little bit similar to what we saw them do up against the Tongans, how they started a bit slower. And then from there, they just continued to find their rhythm. Tosaviti says Gade there. And the return of the Fijians, says Godzone in there too. But Samoa now ready to kick this one off. Just the 1 minute remaining in this first half of the Pacific Nations Cup fixture. Slapped back by Samoa, Joel Lamb on the halfway line with Lolangi Vizinier. That ball took forever to find the next man, but passed on by Rodney Ona off to Taifu. Now Joel Lamb thought about going left, but instead shovels it to the right. Late shot coming in there from Asawa Nasilisila. Only a couple seconds late. The referee will give the penalty advantage against them though. Now stepping is Ben Nini, and Seta is looking pretty sharp. You wouldn't think he was one of the older players out there on the field, would you? Nice run forward from Peter and Ayasu, and they will go back for the original penalty. I'm just about to hear whether or not this is for the same thing. I think it is for the late shot, though. Late tackle. That is the call there against the Asawa Nasilisila. What country is Rodney Ona playing in at the moment? He is pretty classy. He says it's Razor. Is Rodney Ona at Moana Pacifica? I'm going to have a quick look. Am I thinking of someone else? Where is Rodney Ona? That is the question. Was he in the USA for a little bit? Or am I thinking of Tomasi Alosio? It might have been Rodney Ona who I'm thinking of, who was in the MLR. Currently, in 2025, he's at Seattle Seawolves, and he was at NOLA Gold in 2023 to 24. But yeah, it doesn't say whether or not he's played any games in the MLR for 2025 on his Wikipedia. Haven't seen him in Super Rugby. Says from Brummets Razor, good morning all and afternoon. Depends on where you are. Very nervous about New Zealand versus South Africa. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for both of those sides. I think it could go down to the wire. That one's nicely stolen by Fiji at line-out time. Samoa would have loved to strike one last time before the halftime break, but going into the sheds after 40 minutes, 15 points to 12 in favour of Samoa. I don't think many people were anticipating Samoa to be leading at this point, which I think sounds harsh, but it's true. Not many were anticipating it. Do you have the AB's lineup? Any changes? Says Jeff, there are quite a few changes compared to what we saw in the other match, but we will, of course, go into that during the preview. But pretty much in the locking duo, we see Fabian Holland move off the bench instead of in the starting side for Tupavai. The loose forward trio, it is Simon Parker, Artie Savia, and also Wallace Satiti. And then the back line, there's Finley Christie starting at 9, and then Amoni Narawa out on the right wing. Those are pretty much the changes that we've seen. The real question is, Razor changed to 5-3 and to a 6-2 yet due to a sudden pre-game injury. Says it's Razor there. And Tonga looked tiny against Fiji. See, that's the thing. Like, they started so well, the Tongans, and then they just dropped off drastically. And at that time, when Fiji started to get themselves some more momentum, it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed like it went a little bit wrong, a little bit too quickly, I guess you could say, for the Tongans. And because of that, we just saw exactly what this Fijian side can do. And I do think that there will be a little bit of weariness coming here from the Samoans in the second half. They will know that Fiji are right in this game. We have got there Tosaviti Toso, Fijian brothers, says Osangi there. What we will quickly do is we will go like that. There we go. These are the benches for these two sides. Still plenty of changes can be made. I don't believe a single change has been made by either side throughout this first half, which is actually a little bit of a welcome change because normally, you'd have one or two injuries by now, but I think we've only had a little half stoppage for Ilia Thanakaivata, and with the exception of that, everyone still seems around that 100%. Of course, some big games around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Argentina taking on the Australians, that one kicking off in only around 45 minutes time. So what we will be doing in 30 minutes is jumping over to that live stream, still giving updates of what is happening in this game, but at the very end, we will be doing, of course, that commentary on that one as well. And then also after that, South Africa versus New Zealand. I'm trying to hold back another sneeze, so I think my brain wasn't quite working. But this is the way that the Pacific Nations Cup table sits, ladies and gentlemen. Fiji at the top of the bunch on the 5. If Samoa win this game with a bonus point, they automatically qualify for the Rugby World Cup 2027 competition. At the moment, Tonga have got themselves that privilege. But Fiji, the ball is in their court as well a little bit here. Same with Samoa. Whoever secures the second half will more than secure their spot. Definitely if Fiji were to come back and win this game. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again, so I will very quickly mute. We are good. Hopefully I've unmuted. But on the other side of the draw, pretty intriguing to see whether or not the USA... Well, the thing is, the USA actually can't qualify now that I think about it, because even if they got themselves the bonus point win, I don't think their differential would be good enough, nor would their head-to-head result be in their favour either. So, a pretty tough one for the US, definitely after missing out on qualification for last Rugby World Cup as well. They've still got more of a chance. Whoever wins out of them and more than likely Samoa or Tonga, they will get to qualify for the World Cup as well. It's rare to see a modern game without an injury. See, as Big Rig, there's so many that take place. And, I'm pretty happy with how physical this first half's been, with the fact that no one stayed down from the shot. So, of course, these two sides love to put in those big hits who organise these international games, but disappointing. Would have been an easy fix. Absolutely. I 100% agree. All they needed to do was play this game 30 minutes earlier. And, the thing is, there was a to be determined for this Pacific Nations Cup fixture right up until maybe, I'd say, 4 weeks ago. So the first thing I would have done if I was in charge of scheduling of these games would have been, right, what other international rugby matches are taking place? Because we don't want to overlap with them. And they went, Argentina-Australia is happening. Oh, well, we'll just put it down anyway. We'll just do it during that gap. But no, it just seems like a really poorly planned timing because, like I said, 30 minutes earlier, we'd be completely fine. We'd be able to cover both games, no worries whatsoever. None of the Samoan players play for Moana Pacifica. I'm happy that these boys stood up for the challenge against a formidable side. Flying Fijians says Tui there. And also, I think they assume that no one watches games unless their nation is playing. But the thing is, they're trying to make it so that no one watches these games because they're literally shooting themselves in the foot. It's the same as what we saw, I think it was last year for the Pacific Nations Cup, how pretty much no one had the licensing across the world. So there were very little options of being able to watch the contest. We've seen it before in terms of, how many times has a Samoan game, I think it's happening in November as well, how many times do Samoa's games overlap with another matchup that's taken place in the world? They are just, they aren't giving the Pacific Islands a chance to really showcase their rugby. That's pretty disrespectful to the Pacific Nations Cup with their scheduling, absolutely. And it shouldn't be that way. It's not hard to have a kickoff 30 minutes earlier for the sake of not overlapping with an international fixture that a lot of people will be watching. Because the amount of people who will have to transfer over after around 55 minutes of this game and go, sorry, I'm going to watch another contest, World Rugby Conspiracy against Samoa. I don't know if it's specifically against Samoa, but Samoa seem to always get the rough end of the stick. I mean, even look at their sevens side of things. And, Kenya's the same in the sevens. They seem to try their absolute hardest to work their way up to the top again just to have them then chucked back out of the standings because they changed the format. Morning, Hamish. Thanks so much for the commentary. Listening from Dubai. says Josh there. So it's greatly appreciated you being here for this fixture. A high-scoring one at the moment. And I am about to sneeze one more time, so I will quickly mute. We are good, hopefully. I wish we could have a rise up. Sort these idiots out CSI, and also we're going to go Manu Samoans, all the best, says Junior. And a Samoan style Brett Robinson's girlfriend, says Big Rig. And who's the ref for the ABs and Bot game? It will be Carl Dixon in charge of that fixture, so the Englishman. But it's going to be a big one. We are getting closer and closer to that matchup, and I assume there will be quite a few more nervous people around for that game too. Hi, says Joseph. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. And Hachu, says Naz Williams. The worst thing is, before the live stream, I didn't have any hay fever whatsoever. I had a little bit, but not to the extent of sneezing. Currently, meters made 264, made by the Samoans here. Fiji have made an extra 20 tackles. An English ref. Box will not be happy, says Big Rig. And thoughts on Saudi Arabia bid to host 2035. I think it all depends on how it goes up till that point in terms of whether or not that R360 league starts up. Just clicked on. I would have thought Fiji would have been too strong for Samoa. Looks like an even contest. Yeah, very even across the stats department as well. Like Samoa, I don't know. They've just looked better in this game than a lot of people thought they would have. And it's not a bad thing. I think, if anything, it's a massive bonus because they are playing for their chance of staying in that Rugby World Cup. So, of course, they're going to try and go out there and absolutely put it all on the line. But yeah, very intriguing to know what will happen in the second half. Whether or not Samoa start to slow down because of the pace that's been kept throughout this game. Although they haven't done much of the defending. They've done less than Fiji. So maybe that bodes well for them. And DK comes with territory. It's part of sport and rugby. It's so complicated. I feel like blaming the ref is an easy way out when your team loses, says Big Rig. Now we have got there. Hamish, what's your take on the continuous inconsistencies, interferences, and inaccuracies by TMOs and refs? It's the hardest job in rugby, and it's the thankless job too. Because the thing is, you could have a brilliant game as a referee and people would still feel like you had a bad one because of the interpretation of the law. I think that the hardest part is, like, most people don't know all the laws, and sadly, because there are so many, sometimes the refs don't. I'm about to sneeze again. 1 second. Right, we should be good this time. Hopefully with a bit of luck. But yeah, the law book is so long. So if World Rugby want less inconsistencies, they have to look at making a shorter rule book. Round Philly Shield starts in 15 minutes. Yes, Southland got themselves a big challenge at home up against Canterbury. Where's the game being played at? It's actually at Rotorua International Stadium. So, not in Samoa, which is a bit of a shame. I would have loved to see this game take place at Upia Park. I'm not exactly sure of the reason why it isn't. I don't know whether or not it was maybe travel-based or money-based in terms of maybe they're getting paid well to play this game in New Zealand. Imagine if Tava Nawai played for Fiji in the centre, says I, would be absolutely massive for their side. And the thing is, the sad part for Timothy Tava Nawai is they didn't use him the way that they should have, I don't think, the All Blacks. And they sent him back to the NPC to then get injured for about 12 weeks. We have got there, you say that, but they shortened the laws and just made things more inconsistent, says Big Rig. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one because there's really no right way to make it easier for rugby referees. And I agree, rugby refs have such a hard job. I think get all the blame and anger, even if they call it right, says Big Rig. Yeah, like, if you make a right decision, the team who got penalised don't like you. If you make a wrong decision, then that team also don't like you. So you actually can't win as a referee. Like, there is very rarely a time where if we say at the end of a game, that ref had a pretty solid performance, people don't go, you're lying, he was terrible. And there's a problem that is going to plague the game for a long time until we find a balance between player safety and the entertainment value of the game. See, as it's Razor. Like that Lions Australia last minute clear out in the second game. Yeah, that one's still has been debated about whether or not it should have been a penalty or not. We've seen some people saying yes, some people saying no. And we have to get there late to the show. What have I missed? Well, it was an entertaining start to this match from not just the Fijians, but also from Samoa, getting themselves the early try on the board from Ane Asu. Then from there, we did see the try being scored by Joel Lamb. And then Fiji, they have got themselves the 12 points in total, managing to score. The first try was Tavira Ikanaviri, and the second was Seta Tamani Valu. Well, Rugby need to set up a judiciary committee for refs and TMOs. Bad performance, hold them accountable like players. The biggest problem they've got, though, is if they were to do that, like, what rules a bad performance, though? Because players make, let's say, 5 mistakes throughout a game of rugby. And most of the time, they'll play the next week. How many mistakes are you allowing a referee? Because you got to remember, they are human. So there is going to be sometimes a little bit of error basis that can be had. So are you saying if the ref makes 4 wrong calls? And also, who's the judge of what the wrong call is? Because what if it's looked at by the higher-ups and they say, actually, you made the right call. People just don't know the law. Your point about refs are so valid. When a team loses 1 or even 2 players, the game continues without a problem. Without refs, there is no game. Says Joss there. And the ref ain't the problem. The TMO is. They butt in when they feel like it. And the call, well, they call just about always goes against New Zealand. Says God's Own. I haven't heard a single ref or ex-ref say it's a penalty. It's mainly split between Australia and Lions fans. Says Big Rig. Mistakes, the obvious calls. Says iBoss. Well, the thing is, though, like, so you're saying one obvious call means a ref should be sacked from his next game? Or is it that you're allowed 2 or so mistakes? You know, players knock the ball on. Should they be sacked from the lineup for the next week, or should they get another chance? It's a tricky matter, and I do think it's one of those ones that just is extremely difficult to decide on, because I agree, if a ref has a bad game, they do need to have some sort of, you know, review, which they actually did have throughout the Rugby World Cup. I'd recommend watching Whistle Watchers, because you actually see the process of why they selected certain referees. They have them on a board, and they have red around them if they've had a bad game, or green around them if they've had a good. And then they base that off what they've seen throughout the World Cup as to who was refereeing the important knockout games. So there is a system in play. It just probably isn't used as openly and, you know, communication-wise as people want to see. It's a matter of time till we have AI refs' thoughts. I think that people will say that the AI refs hacked. And honestly, I think that if we had AI referees, the game would be more stop-start than it's ever been, because pretty much every breakdown, if you look hard enough, has a penalty. So I think that AI refs, I'll be honest, like, I know that people are saying that referees are killing the game. Having non-human referees, I think, puts the death to rugby. I'll say it right now. Unless, of course, the players can adapt in a way that does work as well. And howdy, Hamish and all. Sounds like I missed a chat about refs. Sad studs raised. You did, but it is now the second half of this contest back underway. Samoa leading at the moment by the 3 points. If they need a bonus point win here to be able to qualify for that Rugby World Cup 2027. If they don't, then they will play in the Pacific Nations Cup match up against the USA and still have that chance of qualification. But nicely taken by Samoa Vorre, a man who I mentioned we didn't really see too much of throughout the first half. I can already picture Artie putting his life on the field today for his 100th. Says Zai. Yeah, that's the thing. Cody Taylor, the only All Black to have lost their Centurion game. Artie Savia could become the second if New Zealand are not careful. He will want to try and do absolutely everything he can to stop that from happening. Halftime thought, says Big Rig. And there as well. And Angel Hernandez managed to be a baseball umpire for 34 years, and he was awful for 20 of them, says Big Rig. Fish and chips for dinner. I don't think I'll have time for dinner tonight. We're pretty much after this stream. In fact, in about 15 minutes or so, we are going straight over to that Australia versus Argentina match. Then from that game, we're jumping straight into the preview. Or sorry, not the preview. Well, it is actually the pre-match. However, there leaves the refs alone. The TMOs are destroying rugby nowadays. Says Jeff J. I didn't know that fact about Cody Taylor. He must be gutted. Yeah. And then afterwards, he got interviewed. And they were like, so, your 100th game, you lost. What happened? And he's like, oh, you know, it's quite unfortunate. And they're like, you guys are really bad. Why were you bad? Tell us why you were bad. So he just didn't get the best 100th match. So I feel like a lot of Kiwis would prefer to call this one at Eden Park his 100th, depending on what the result is. But already we see the scrum feed for the Fijians. Early stages of the second half. Ball about to be put in by Simeone Kuravuli. Taking a little while to get this ball in. Yeah, you're right about the TMO, says I. The Abies were severely punished in Argentina, says Jeff J. Now Kuravuli. Going back to Tamani Valu. That number 12 jersey for today. Kuravuli back to Muntz. Does kick it high. Doesn't look like there's much of a chase coming in here from Fiji. Could leave a little bit of extra space to be able to run it back for Tuna Tuitama. He gets through the tackle of Davida Ikanaveri. Steve Buckner. Yeah, he had a long umpiring career, didn't he? Compared to how long people kind of expected. Now, Joel Lamb, he tried to milk that penalty. The referee tells him, nah, you're not getting that one. Can't find Stags versus Canterbury Live. It will be on, I would say probably Sky Sports Select. Could potentially be where that one is. Rush defence there from Fiji with Davida. In fact, that time it was Ilya Thanakai-Vata. Now quick hands on the outside. Taralini Su goes to Tuna Tuitama. Looked like he was taken out a little bit late. The mark is called, but I think it's going to be the penalty. So it goes to where the ball landed, which will be about 15 metres out from Fiji's line. We have got their camera shoved in his face. So how come Wales are so bad? Why did they lose so much? Phrased in a nicer way, says Big Rig for poor Matt Shearer. And also go back to the ref as God with the whistle. Timo hasn't solved anything. Let's just accept they're human and remember we're watching a game. Yeah, I do think that the TMO at times can get a little bit too involved in matches. Sky Sport 4, in fact. And I'm a Kiwi. I'm seeing Bortia on the field. He's a beast. Yeah, Lavani Bortia was just built different. And I know that there was a patch where everyone was talking about the hybrid player of Andre Esterhuizen and saying who else has played in a forward pack and a back line. But you don't have to look too much further than Lavani Bortia. We got to remember that. That's gone dead from the Samoans. That is a poor kick. 5 metres out from the line it would have been. That could have just been the game there for Samoa. And that is a massive error from the Samoan team. He was about 5 metres from the sideline and he boots it dead. How does one even do that? TMO can definitely slow the game down and hurt the flow, but I feel like people use the TMO ref as an excuse when their team loses, says Big Rig. Yeah, it's kind of become the stock standard one, hasn't it? And I don't think there's been a single game where people haven't blamed the refereeing. In at least times that I can remember. Caleb Muntz now going to kick this one off again from the 22. Now running it back, the big man, Patelo Mapu. That number 8 jersey crowd trying to get behind him that little bit. Now pass back across Rodney Ona with a skip ball on the outside. Rolangi Vizin here. Another step on the inside for Alo Fipu, who made a few too many easy meters in that scenario. Alalatoa. Still moving forward quite nicely here. Now Wonga. 1 second, we'll go like that and like that as well. And we'll go like that. There we go. And now off to the left-hand side. A little bit of a low pass. Kicked in behind from Samoa, but it's taken back by Fiji. And again, the penalty advantage was in favour of the Manu Samoans. Just seems like Fiji's ill-discipline here could be their biggest crucial moment throughout this game, I would say, because there have been far too many penalties going against this side. I see it there, just kind of a chopping tackle at the limbs. Okay, referee asking where the ball is. Just said there, nothing in it more than just the penalty in that scenario. That one just going out. That time it was inside of the field of play, but only marginally. We'll be about 5 metres out from the line here. 307 metres made by Samoa, although we are starting to see a little bit of a comeback there in that statistic from the Fijians. We have got there, is it raining, wet on the field? No, it looks all right to me. Maybe a little bit of slipperiness underfoot. We have there, make sure your solidarity to the Pacific Nations Cup and stream this match in full, says I. Sadly, I will not be able to because of when this match ends compared to Australia versus Argentina, but I am going to be providing the score updates on that next live stream between Argentina and Australia. Plus, if you want anyone to blame World Rugby for being that stupid to put 2 international games on at the same time. How many penalties in this? Honestly, they're up to about 10 here for the Fijians at the moment. If the TMO can't be consistent, it means the game's unrefereeable. The updates on Wallabies Argentina. It is starting in around 25 minutes time for kickoff. We will be starting that stream in 10 minutes time though. But before then, Samoa might get themselves another try. They've got another penalty advantage. 5 meters out from the line. Right, time is off. Captain's being called over here. Okay, I think Tavita Ikanaveri was struggling to understand the referee just a little bit there. Referee said in short period of time, 3 infringement, and Tavita Ikanaveri went, who? But I think he was talking about the tight hair prop here, Samu Tawake, as the first initial infringement, as well as, in that case, it was Timo Maina Vanua. World Rugby deserves the vote rule that the referee gets. It's a fancy word. I feel like I said that wrong, didn't I? And hard to know if it will rain or not for the AB's game. By the sounds of it, the rain was supposed to stop at about 2 or 3 p.m. So with a little bit of luck, it should hopefully... Well, I don't think it's going to be dry anyway. I think it is still going to be a wet kind of contest, but it shouldn't be as wet as first anticipated for that matchup. Michael Alalatoa. A big game so far for the first 47. Who's on the wing for Fiji? Out on one wing, they have got Ponepate Loganamasi. Out on the other, Kalaveti Revovo. It looks like Tavita Ikanaveri currently has a little bit of a cut on the side of his eye. And Fiji is trash, says Optimist. They are nowhere out of this game, though. And Japanese ref communication skills need work. I don't ref any ABs versus Bok test for sure, says DK. I thought he was completely fine. In terms of what he explained, he pretty much said, look, too many infringements down this end of the field. I think what was affecting Tavita Ikanaveri and his hearing skills was the fact that he was also bleeding. So he actually initially pointed over as if to say, hey, can I get taped up first? But no, he got called over and kind of was tapping it as if to say, no, I'm bleeding a little bit here. And now 5 meters out from the line, Samoa again with another big chance. If they score now, they would be in a very nice position in this contest. Now, going across to the left-hand side this time. Pick and go again from Samoa. Told to get out of it for Seta Tamanivalu. Now 2 meters short. Taleni Su, but it's the penalty for Fiji. So they managed to get that one back. However, there the weather looks threatening to rain all day, and I'm only 20 minutes from Eden Park, says Godzone. And also we have got there as well, I've got 42 minutes till kickoff, according to Sky Sports. Says Novmum. 42. Is it a later kickoff for... in the build-up of it, does it have that it is going to be kicking off a bit later? Novmum, do let me know, because I assume they would have started the coverage by now. This ref was great in New Zealand in the NPC. One moment, I'll quickly click here. And I will click here as well, just to try and see what the countdown clock says on their live stream. 40 minutes away. Yeah, there's a 4:50 kickoff for that Wallabies game. Interesting. So it might actually be delayed enough that it doesn't overlap with this contest. Maybe. That's weird, though, that everywhere it said that it's happening at 4:30, but that seems to be the Australian way of tell everyone the wrong time, just to try and set them up. The box are the wrong side or on the wrong side of the planet. Now, Fiji, they've got themselves the possession here on the left-hand side. Another step. You better take back all that slander, Avon says I, although it will still probably overlap for the first couple of minutes if this game does not run completely smoothly. Now, going off to the right-hand side. Now, getting closer. Fiji in possession. Simeone Kuravuli goes across to Tavita Ikanaveri. Again, back across to the left-hand side. Caleb Muntz. Onto the left-hand side. Another offload for the Fijians. And around the halfway line, dirty tackle by Samoa, no hands. No hands or no arms, because you're allowed to use no hands as long as you're using some sort of arms in the case. But there were no arms either in this scenario. I'm not sure. The TAB says it's 20 minutes. Says Novmum. I'm tempted to try and delay, although we've got a TMO here, so we're going to be longer and longer, aren't we? And everybody's there to step up with Artie. And Eden Park says Zion, yellow card, yellow. Says DK. Yeah, it does sound like maybe with the TMO getting involved, we could see a card here for the first time in this fixture game kicking off in 37 minutes. See, that's, yeah. All right, I'm going to have to quickly reschedule some stuff then in that regard, just to try and make it a little bit smoother with a little bit of luck. While we are also looking at this no-arms tackle made by Talini Suyina. He just leads in with the shoulder there, not a lot of wrap at all. In fact, there was probably minus levels of wrapping there. What's your number? Says the ref. He is just looking around for Talini Su here. We've got the Japanese ref. Well done. Okay, so you like the referee now because he made a decision in favour of Fiji, right? We'll go there the way the Wallabies playing. They can beat anyone on their given day. Says Jeff J. And Talini Su. Going to be brought over here. Okay, it's ruled as high force. It means that he will be going to the bin now. So if this game between Argentina and Australia is starting slightly later, I will reschedule that one. I'll still go 4:30. Just so that we're not... I won't be late for the Aussie game, mate. Well, apparently it's kicking off in around 40 minutes' time. So I might have to quickly say kick off. Oh, kickoff is at 4:50 NZ one more time rather than 4:30. So we'll go like that. We'll go like this as well. We see there a run from Asawa Nasilasila, currently multitasking big time. And you can't win Test match with a Super Rugby mentality. Test matches need big players, says Abo. And also we have got there about the Fijian flags. And can Fiji take a penalty shot? Honestly, they might consider it at this point in time. But the yellow card currently in referral for Talini Su. Big shot on Caleb Muntz. But it could be that ill discipline that ends up costing this Fijian team. Under 55 points. It should be. Oh, what an interception from Samoa. The long cutout pass. It's going to be a foot race. And he should be caught there. Run down about 40 metres from the line. Great chase from Logana Masi. Kicked him behind from the Samoans. Awkward bouncing ball. That's a tackle on the ground. Bit of a brain fade there from Tuna Tuitama. And it means that Fiji get themselves the penalty again. And I think they've decided to take it quickly. Yes, they have, trying to up the tempo in this fixture. Now kicked him behind from Tamani Valu. Chasing after this one hard. Waiting for the bounce of the ball. Nicely taken. Yona going off to the left-hand side. Now awkward kick. The side of the boot for Samoa. Looking for the sideline. Tosso says DK. And Super Rugby did great in the first round. Says a God zone there. And also Fiji having an off game. Usually the second half is their forte. And I feel like they aren't out of this game yet, though. They are still close enough that they could look to score within this 8 minutes of yellow card time. Now another run from Samu. Samu Vorre got the offload away to Kuravuli. He was asking the referee for a penalty on an early tackle attempt there. He's going early tackle, sir, right in the face of the ref. The question is, was he right? He wants them to go upstairs. He's doing the TMO fingers. I think that's only reserved for the ref. Let's see what happens. Although, first of all, what an interception from the Samoans. Almost running the full length of the field. But Ponipati Loganamasi, he is lightning quick. And managed to shut down Alofipo's break of the line within probably 50 metres of the break. And still about 30 metres short of the try line. What's your call on the Argentina-Australia game? I think Argentina could take this one. I think they'll have a pretty good shot of being able to win that one, Argentina. They have got a huge amount of potential. But I do also think that Australia, for me, you know, they are strong. They have a world-class team at the moment. And, you know, they made some interesting choices along the way. We have got there, Samoa needs to win. by 7 and get a bonus point win to overtake Tonga, says the LA Tens. And Tosa Viti Toso. Looks like another change is about to be made here, though. Penalties 12 against Samoa, 11 against the Fijians. And Fiji is just lucky the Tuolangi brothers aren't playing for Samoa, says Sai there. We've got there Alfredo in the chat. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. And let's go to Samoans. An early tackle there from Alamundo Matonga. So they have gone upstairs. And they have ruled it. When you're going over to the Wallabies-Argentina game, probably in about 10 minutes' time, seeing as that game is slightly later kickoff than first anticipated. But once again, I know that we were talking about it earlier on, how these games overlapping, which they still probably will, to be fair, but a lack of communication. Everyone thought the game for Australia was kicking off at 4:30. Yeah, it's kicking off at 4:50, so that actually delays that game by a few moments, which will put it closer to New Zealand taking on South Africa. I didn't even think about that side of things with the fact that there's a 20-minute delay. You reckon Argentina get 25 points past the Wallabies? 25 is quite difficult to get. If it's a fast-paced running game of rugby, I think they shouldn't be a mile off, but honestly, it could go either way of that. Now Fiji with the ball in hand. Davide Ikanaveri going off to the right-hand side. Nicely taken again. Kimu Valetini. Oh, that's a hard shot coming in on him. Only just recently making his way off of the bench. Now trying to offload it was a Soa Nasilasila. The Fijian flags there from DK2. Now back away. Samoa in position with Ben Nini. Now just taking his time here. Getting ready to get that next pass away for Joel Lamb. Being told to use it here for Joel Lamb. Kicks it high. Waiting for this one to come down. Oh, it's an aerial challenge in the air from Fiji, and both men dropping it. The Aussies are up there. The Box were really lucky. Says Jeff J, and it looks like maybe an injury here for maybe Armstrong Ravula here. With a bit of almost looks like an ankle injury in that regard. He does not look too flash at the moment. Isaiah Armstrong Ravula. Currently sitting with the 2 carries and only the 10 metres made. Has hardly touched the ball throughout this match. The Aussies are going to destroy the Argies, says Jeff J. So I wouldn't be so sure. I feel like Australia have had their own fair share of risky moments. I think Armstrong Ravula's just snapped his ankle in half. And that does not look like he will be continuing in this game, let alone any game for quite some time. It was a nasty landing for Armstrong Ravula. I've got I'm glad the Aussies are back, says Jeff J. They're just talking about the fact that it will take a lot of strapping to try and keep that ankle together now with the way that he landed in such an awkward manner. And yeah, he looks like he is pretty well injured at this point in time. Is he going to try and continue? I don't think he can continue in this game. Oh, he's going to try. His ankle, he's going to walk it off. I don't know whether or not you can walk off a landing like that. If the Wallabies pump the Pumas, it will make the ABs look trash, says Zai there. Will it? I don't know. I feel like Argentina, everyone knows that they've got the inconsistencies and they can be a 10 out of 10 one game and about a 2 out of 10 the next. So I don't think it discounts anything from New Zealand's point of view. No, Australia would destroy Argentina. Be a close game, not a destroying by any means. Michael Chica's on Stan Sport commentary team now. Says it's Razor there. I know that he's been moving around all over the place, hasn't he, Michael Cheika? He's been coaching. Been doing a little bit of analysing thrown in there too. Right, the report is that Taleni Sues is going to remain as a yellow card here for that no-arms tackle on Seta Tamani Valu. So that is one bonus for Samoa. They are still leading in this game though, but I will mention, it doesn't matter if they win. They have to win with a bonus point if they want to qualify for that Rugby World Cup 2027. And you could even argue that if they weren't able to win with a bonus point and they just get the victory, it would be considered all for nothing. I'm kind of happy that Fiji is losing. So many of our fans talk big. Says Optimus. Well, to be fair, they came in as favourites for this matchup. Samoa just started this match a lot better. But like I said, Samoa need a bonus point win. They can't just win this game. They need 5 points on the board from the fixture. So 2 tries in the next 26 minutes. Going to be tricky to do, but definitely not impossible in that regard. All right, we will go like that. And we will go like that as well. I'm in Auckland, been showers all day, on and off. Still overcast now, CSI. Yeah, I think the first time that the sun's supposed to come out is at about maybe 4 or 5 p.m. So hopefully 5 p.m. if it's still overcast at the moment. I wondered if Radradra and Tuisova would still play for Fiji. They would if it was a big competition, but they don't play during the Pacific Nations Cup due to their contract obligations overseas. Wet conditions in Auckland, aerial battle tonight. Fiji can always bounce back. Bet your bloke, says Timothy, and another free kick goes the way of the Samoans, going off to the left-hand side now, trying to pierce their way through this defensive line of Fiji away to the left-hand side. Roniona with a bit of a step there, 40 metres out now for the Manu Samoans. You can rain anytime in Auckland. And more spam ads in the comments, blocked and reported. But still coming through, yeah. Like, blocking and reporting them won't do anything because their channels, whoever spams it's gone. But they have like thousands of channels. Like, that's pretty much just a bot that they try and get to spam. But do not go on any of the links or any websites that they try and say to go on. What time is your coverage of Oz versus RG, says Mark? It's actually starting 9 minutes because that game is starting 20 minutes later than kickoff was initially going to be. And time to kick off Argentina versus Australia, 27 minutes. So, yeah, very confusing with the fact that it's actually a later kickoff. But we are going to be transferring over in around 5 minutes or so's time. Getting ready for that next match. The Box have like to have penalties. It's almost like it's holding off after the game being threatening all day. Says God's Zone. What a kick that is in behind. 50-22 on the cards, but well claimed by Lolangi Vizinier. Are you sure? I got it starting in 20 minutes. Yep, Australia, like on the actual coverage, have it starting in 28 minutes time. Because I did go on to the coverage briefly just to see, and Stan Sport, everyone there has got it starting in that later time. Already starting to have nightmares of Andre Pollard, says Nars Williams. But yeah, it's been really badly advertised. Honestly, Australia do it one of the worst out of any side around the world in terms of saying what time a kickoff is and then just making it up as they go. Same with Super Rugby. You know, you'd see a 9:30 kickoff and it would start at about 9:42. And you sit there going, like, what are you doing? Just, if you're going to be slower, just announce it as 9:45 p.m. kickoff. I'm watching the coverage right now and it's 25 minutes for sure. Says it's Razor. Another step from Ilia Thanakaivata. Away to the right-hand side. Chance here in the middle of the park. Getting slapped down there was Antonio Wanga. A huge amount of work to do for him. The offload there now. In space, Timo Mainavanua pops it up to Simeone Koravoli. It was a forward pass, and it's lucky it was because I think Lolangi Vizinier just knocked Simeone Koravoli out. And man, our 19 combination is frustrating. Why can't we have a solid duo in New Zealand anymore? Can Samoa win? I think that at the moment they're in a good position. But the thing is, with this Pacific Nations Cup, they can't just win. They have to win with a bonus point. Like, they have to get 5 points in total, which would be an extra 2 more tries for Samoa, or else they will have to go through the next stage of trying to qualify for the Rugby World Cup rather than automatic qualification like we will see for the first and second sides on this side of the draw. Currently, it is 4:23. I do see a change has taken place there. What I'm going to try and do, ladies and gents, this is probably not going to work, but we'll see what happens. I am going to be popping away to the side here because the next live stream is going to be starting in about 5 minutes. So what you can't see is I'm currently stripping because I have to change into the suit and tie for that next live stream. Currently, scrum taking place for the Samoans. This is the first time I've done a live stream with my shirt off, so you're probably lucky I'm off to the side. Free kick goes the way of the Fijians. Now, taking the quick tap, 20 metres out from the line. There's a big chance. Simeone Koravoli going off to the right-hand side, finds Ilia Thanakaivata. Being held up nicely by the Samoans. Koravoli again going away. Masaki Donge, the replacement tight head prop. In 22 metres from the line. Big attack and run from Antonio Wanga. Now Koravoli looks for quick ball. Going off to the left-hand side. Masaki Donge. Koravoli. Now off to the left again. Finds Caleb Muntz. Talia Thanakaivata had a busy game in that number 8 jersey. Hereti Hitit. 6 phases in a row for Fiji. Sitting 20 metres out from the line. I'm currently tying a tie at this point in time. Koravoli Back across. Now Masaki Donge shovels it on. Caleb Munt's ball on the outside. Ponipati. Loganamasi. It's a 2-on-1 overlap on the outside. Little chip in behind. Chased hard by Fiji. And Kuravuli scores the try for the Flying Fijians. That could be the difference maker there. In terms of the overall score, Fiji for the first time getting themselves in the lead. We have got the ad starting in 5 minutes with a South African live stream. It's confusing. Yeah, it is very confusing. Like I said, Australia are really bad at organising when their games are actually kicking off. But hopefully, we've slightly got ourselves all but ready for that next stream, ladies and gentlemen. That will save me an extra minute or so heading into the next stream. I'll adjust that tie a little bit. It's a bit wonky at the moment. I think it's that one in behind. But there we go. Huge game coming up. And commentating and doing a tie legend, says Nars Williams. Yeah, I mean, that was multitasking and a half, I have to say. That's something that we don't do too often. We have got the Australia not beating the two laid back, slightly drunk allegations. We have got the, yeah, I can say that's a first. It's a talking chair. Can't see you, Hamish. That was the point. I had no shirt on, so I had to try and hide. Game management, says DK. See, what would have been smarter to do is just wear the hoodie over this. But I didn't think of that at the time, and now I'm feeling a bit silly. But to be fair, I thought there would be a little bit more time in between the games as well. But what we are going to be doing very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to be popping over to that Australia versus Argentina match. Alongside that, we are going to be doing a little bit of analysis about this game in terms of what is happening. But Fiji now leading 19 points to 15. We'll see this kickoff, and then we will jump back over to the next one. Do you have a suit jacket? It is actually too warm for a suit jacket, believe it or not. It's actually quite hot today, which is a welcome change. Although Juan Noah makes his way onto the field, that is going to be for Michael Curry. Does make his way off, but Fiji choosing the right time to be able to strike in this one. You'll be needing a makeup artist soon, says Mr. Billy. No, to be fair, that is the first time that I've tried to change attire on a live stream, I think. And man, have improved so much under pressure these last 5 years. But now Samoa getting over the ball, 5 metres out the line. They're told to get out of it by the referee. Australia bad at a lot of things. Says Bruce there. Right, they're being told to use it. Kuravuli goes back across to the right-hand side. I think that this one, once this goes out, that is when we are going to transfer over to that next stream, as we've got about 3 minutes till that one gets underway. Of course, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be giving continuous updates about this game over on that next stream. So if you haven't already, be sure to go and check that one out. I'll see you all in about 3 minutes' time. Maybe even 2. Maybe 1 if I'm fast. But I'll see you all very shortly.